announcements. Okay. So we are live. So today is Wednesday. It's Wedding Wednesday, and so we always go live every Wedding Wednesday. And every week we bring a wedding professional online. If you haven't joined us before, we have a lot of topics that we've covered over the last few weeks, or last month, I guess. We've been doing this. So, and of course, we are live on Facebook, and then we are also streaming in our 417 Engaged Couples group. So if you are engaged and want to join that group, you're more than happy to. We would love to have you. So much good information and just couples helping couples in there. So we're really excited about our group. And then, and then what we will do, if you're joining us live, we will also post this video as well afterwards. So if you can't stay for the entire thing, because sometimes we have lots of questions at the end, and our wedding professionals graciously answer those questions. And so sometimes this can be a little bit long, but we'd love to have you the whole time. And so we are going to welcome Shelby Chante Photography. So Shelby with Shelby Chante. She is our guest today. And so let's go ahead, Shelby, and tell us, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm married happily. I feel like I should always point that out. I'm happily married. I have 2 kids. They're really good for the most part. We live in Ava. My husband, I met him at a wedding, actually, that I was photographing, and he was the best man. How cute is that?
Aww.
Right there. Yeah. So that was pretty cute. And and then I just came to Ava, and we have a nice little life here. And I joke around because when we first got married, which is so fun being a newlywed, like I still remember being a newlywed, and it was exciting. And I got to show everyone my ring, and it was a fun time. And in Ava, every single store I went into, everywhere, the license office, when I pumped gas, people said, "Oh, you're Clint's new wife. You're Clint Hall's new wife." And I said, yes, I am. And it was exciting at first, and it got really old about 3 years in, and people still called me that. So I started calling him Andy Griffith, because I just feel like I live in Mayberry. Like usually I tell people I live in Mayberry. I don't even use the word Ava, the name.
I love that. I love that. And I love that story. That's so sweet.
Oh,
so sweet. I love it. Okay, so tell me about your photography. How long have you had your photography company?
So I had a really good photography teacher in high school. And so I've been taking pictures since high school. And then I got out and I started taking pictures, and people started paying me money. And I thought I thought that it was like wild that anybody would pay me money to do something that I love so much. So I just jumped on that, and that's my life now. I get to live in the dream. And I've been in business. I've been paying taxes for 7 or 8 years. So I feel like that's what makes you a grown-up and professional, is when you pay taxes.
So true. So true. And obviously your photography is amazing. So we're really excited to have you on today. And and we have got some great topics that you have shared. So, with every wedding professional that we bring on, we always ask, what's your passion? What do you want to help couples with? Because ultimately that's what we're here for. We're here to help any engaged couple in the 417 area that's getting married. And I, when Shelby submitted her topics, I, of course, am just really happy. So I think you will really enjoy these topics today. So we have 3 different topics, and we'll go through those the 3 different ones, and then we'll dive into the first one. So obviously the first one is natural light versus off-camera flash, which those of you who are not very familiar, Shelby is going to explain to you why your photographer needs to know both. And then the second topic is, what are the must-have photos for the wedding day? And Shelby graciously is going to kind of walk through a timeline, because your photographer has a lot to do with your wedding day timeline. And so we're going to talk about that. And the last one, which I love, there it goes, is second shooter. When do you need one? So she's going to show you why when a second shooter is helpful. So when you're choosing your photographer, you know what the difference is. So, okay. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Yes. So off-camera flash. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be, so the flash, there's the one that goes on the camera, and then there's several that can go behind you, all around you. And then the natural light, of course, is when your photographer isn't shooting with any kind of flash. They're just looking for that natural light that's pouring in from windows, doorways, outside. You're looking for sunlight, lots of different things like that. So at first, I was primarily a natural light photographer, because I don't know, I feel like I didn't really know any better, any different. But I actually went to kind of like an internship with Donna Groves. She used to have a photography studio. And she told me that you need to embrace all light, because you're a hired professional. You can't go into a situation and not be prepared for every different kind of lighting scenario. So I've got the photographers, wedding photographers specifically, they never really know, unless they've been to that venue before, they don't know what they're going to get into. So you still need those bright, crisp images. And so I have dedicated the rest of this time to pointing out why you need both.
Right.
You need both. So the natural light, of course, is going to be dreamy and beautiful. And you also need to know different types of natural light. Like whenever the sun is straight on, you have to know how to work your settings to where that is going to be beautiful. Of course, shooting in RAW helps. And then in the shadows, things like that, with your light coming in, when you need to use a hood on your lens, when you don't. So things like that with the natural lights. I also take a reflector with me to every single wedding, whether that's to block light or to reflect it. So that has actually saved me a few times. And then the off-camera flash, I don't go to a wedding without 4 flashes. Like lights, even more. I've ordered more on Amazon. I'm getting that Trump money in, and I'm gonna buy flashes with it. Which I kind of hope my husband doesn't watch this later, because he didn't know that yet.
And photography is not a cheap it's very expensive. I mean, when you invest in all your equipment and all of that, people wonder why photographers charge what they charge. But honestly, the camera's one thing. Cameras are expensive, but then your lenses and just your flashes and everything else. So go ahead. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. And then the annual maintenance, like I send all of my equipment into Canon every year to be fixed and primed for the wedding season. So it's constant. It sometimes just feels constant. I think I'm finally to a point where I have every lens, all the lights. I've kind of stopped buying all the extra things. So good place. But anyway, the flashes, as you can see in this picture here, we put a flash behind her to light up the smoke from the sparklers. And then we also did one on camera in front. So I just have that on a tripod behind them. And it adds a lot of drama and flair to the image. And whenever you're shooting, I remember this, and it was like pitch black. Like we had to shine a cell phone light on them just so that it could really pick up and be in focus just how I wanted it to.
Right.
So it was a lot of, I mean, it wasn't a lot of work because we get in and we do it, but it was kind of challenging because it's pitch black. I mean, whenever it's so dark like that, it's hard for your camera to pick up. No, you know, so.
And especially when everyone looks at you like, why are you shining your camera light?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Because your camera
phone pictures, is that what my pictures are for my wedding? Yes.
So you have to, you know, a camera has to have focal point, and if it can't see anything other than black, it can't focus. And so, yeah, so I love that. That's awesome. But it's a funny look. People look at you like, why are you pulling out your phone?
Yes, exactly. And then this photo, one more thing, a lot of brides are constantly asking me, like, you know, if they do their sparkler exit too late, they're worried all of their guests will have already left.
Right.
In this photo, I just did her wedding party. Like, it's just her bridesmaids and groomsmen.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be a ton of people to get the shot that you want.
Yes. Yeah. And this, I love this image. It's beautiful. Okay. You ready to go to the next one?
Yes. Okay. So same couple. All right. But in this shot, I wanted to get a little bit more of an intimate feel. And so I took the flashes off and I bumped up the ISO really high, really high, because it is like pitch black in this photo, but the light from the sparklers added just enough warmth. And it turned out to be really, really pretty. So your photographer still needs to know both, because this photo is beautiful and it does add a lot of atmosphere, I think. But when you zoom in to an image like that with the ISO bumped up so high, it does have some grain to it. And some people like the way the grain looks. I kind of do sometimes. I do if it's like a bonus image like this one was. Like, I'm going to always go for the crisp, clear photo first, and then we'll get, you know, a little more creative. But I always get the safety shots first.
Right. And I think that's a good thing to know when you're choosing your photographer. You know, one of the biggest things you want to look at is style. Because in most people, that's what they are looking at. They're looking at their work, they're looking at the style and what type of images they are consistently going out. So all photographers are going to give you something a little tiny bit different mixed in with all of your other images. There's an overall consistent feel. So know that when you're choosing your photographer, you know, and I think these are all really, really good points as far as photography. So let's go ahead and go to the next image.
Oh, I loved this wedding so much. So they are, well, they're the cutest couple. They got married in the spring, and I did not know this until later that evening because it was raining. It rained a lot of the day. Oh, sorry, I'm fighting back a sneeze. Don't sneeze on live.
Don't sneeze. If you need to get up, you can get up. It's okay.
Thank you. So it did. It rained most of the day. Of course, it's Missouri, so we're going to have, it's not just going to rain straight, but it did rain a lot of the day. And I was a little worried because every bride is a little, you know, they want the pretty outside pictures. And we still got really pretty outdoors photos. But it was just raining. It was just kind of murky. And but she was so happy the whole day. Like, I kept thinking, like, when is she going to ask me, like, hey, you know, what can we do about the rain? Like, when is she going to come to me and ask me these, like, concerning bride questions? And she never came to me. And I even asked the groom later, I'm like, hey, is she okay with this, like, rainy day wedding? And he's like, what? Yes, she wanted it to rain today. She wanted a rainy wedding. She wants rain in her photos. And I'm like, what? So, yeah, I was like, deal. That's the kind of bride that's going to stand outside in the rain and let me take a picture like this. So we did it. She loved it. You know, wedding dress and all. I mean, no umbrella. Like, she didn't even want an umbrella. She just wanted it coming down on them. And so this was a fun image to get. And again, you have to be prepared for every wedding to, you know, rain or storms or whatever. So I was happy to have the extra lights on this one.
And those, you know, one thing I want to emphasize is no matter what happens on your wedding day, you know, I had a couple that literally got 6 or 9 inches of snow 2 days before the wedding, and it wasn't supposed to do anything. And she messages me and I'm like, oh, she said, did you see the forecast? And I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I'm sorry. And of course they were trying to do an outside wedding, and and she said, you know, I snowball fight. And I went, oh my, talk about just embracing your day. Just enjoy it. No matter, you know, rain, just enjoy your day. And the other thing that I'll point out is a shot like this, obviously they're in the rain, but know that why you choose a professional photographer is because they can get shots like this and it doesn't take them forever to get it set up, because this is
exactly. Yeah.
This isn't something you can do, you know, really, I mean, you do it quickly, but know that that's where your experience comes in. That's why you're choosing a photographer that has experience, because you want this, but you want that as quick as you can. And a wedding day in general.
Yeah, and we did test shots too before I put them out there. I mean, I didn't stick them out in the rain until I knew that I could just fire quickly and run off some quick poses.
Right, so. Absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh.
Isn't that pretty?
Beautiful. I love the sunset.
Oh, that wedding was really special too. Of course, I mean, you can't pull up a wedding picture and me not be like, oh, I loved that wedding, because I love every single wedding.
Yeah. You feel like you say that over and over again, or you're, but it's the truth. It is the truth.
Every single time. It's never, it's never a lie. But no, that's actually at, Stone Valley Plantation. So they have that big open field and that big open sky, and it was perfect. And that's actually just one flash off to the side there. You can see where that light's coming from. And and I actually had the bride's sister hold it. I just had the bride's sister hold that real quick and directed her, and then we fired off a cute couple poses with that shot. And it was pretty. Like, you don't even know how the sky is really going to photograph until you see it like that. I mean, that's almost just like straight out of camera. I don't have to, whenever you're using off-camera flash, there's a lot that you don't have to, edit in or do.
Right, because you can bring in that background first, and then that flash is taking care of your couple.
Yeah. So it's just a lot more. It's a dramatic shot, but it's all natural. I mean, it's like a really good boob job. Like, you want it, like, is that a boob job? They look so natural. Like, are those real? That's the kind of boobs you want. I'm just saying.
That's another tip, and that wasn't even on one of the topics. So that's you never know.
An extra one. I hope my grandma didn't hear that part. I told my grandma to watch this so that I could be good. Like, I could tell myself to be normal and not say anything inappropriate.
Yes. Okay. Let me check to see. Is there anything else you want to add as far as the natural light versus off-camera flash?
No. I mean, no, I don't think so. When I first started, I just had like one little flash that I would take around with me, and it kind of limited my creativity. So whenever you're looking for a photographer, everyone posts their pretty dreamy natural light photos, and those are beautiful and part of your wedding day. But whenever you're really looking for your photographer, ask for them to send a whole gallery. Ask to see the whole day of someone's wedding so that you can really make sure that they are getting every different moment that you want and lighting it the right way. Because when you go to print them, you want them to be clear, clean, crisp.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, perfect. So we had Whitney Keith said that is a gorgeous photo with the sunset. And of course, you know, we are live in our 417 engaged couples group, and Shelby is monitoring that. So if you're not a part of that, you can join that group at any time, as long as you're engaged and getting married in the 417 area. It is free and open to you. So so please monitor that for us as well, as we are doing this. And we've got a couple other questions that have already this next we'll touch on those. So okay, are we good with that topic?
Yeah, I think so. Okay,
so next topic is and let me get this pulled up here. What are your must-have photos for the wedding day?
Yeah, this is a good topic too. Yeah, so I actually sent Deb a timeline from a wedding that I just typed this up for the girl last week. Andrea. Andrea, just so you know, we are going to dissect your timeline. But yeah, so must-have photos, I feel like I already kind of, whenever I walk through the timeline with the bride, I already know what I need to get and where I need to get it and things like that. But as I'm going along, you know, they're saying, oh, by the way, I want to make sure to have this and this and this. So that's kind of like how Andrea went through hers with me, you know, because when I first get there, I tell them I'm going to start on your detail photos. So I'm going to pretty much photograph everything that you have spent a lot of money on for the most part. I mean, that's kind of a weird way to look at it. But, you know, your venue and your decor, your invitations, your wedding ring, your dress, your shoes, I mean, everything. So I'm going to photograph all of that first. And then it looks like with Andrea, we have bride photos in her robes. So she wanted to get some cute little maids photos in the bridal suite. It's got the matching ones, and so we'll get some fun shots there. And those are really good. She'll love all those little getting ready shots. And then after that, we've got the bride putting on the dress. So the bride putting on the dress, I always ask every bride, who do you want to help put your dress on? Because 10 bridesmaids all in one room helping you get your dress on is not ideal. Unless you really want that, but it's not ideal for the photographer because we're kind of bumping around everywhere. So if we can bring it down a little bit. So usually like 2 or 3 people to help put the dress on and get ready is good. And then Andrea just wanted her mom to help her. So that's really nice. That's probably the best part of the day to get any kind of emotional photos with you and your mom.
Yes.
With you and your mom or grandma or you and your sister. I have a lot of sisters and maid of honors that will help them get ready. And I don't know, there's a lot of emotions going through, you know, people at that moment because it's like the first time you really see them all put together, hair and makeup, the dress, the shoes, and you just take a step back and it's a little overwhelming. So for me, it's overwhelming for you, but it's great time to get pictures for me. So that's one of my favorite parts. And then she's doing a first look with her dad and her brother, which I've never done a first look with the brother before. And I'm pretty excited. I think that will be so cute.
It's so sweet.
Yeah. And then she'll do a first look with the groom, which is good. She'll like that. And even with the first look with the groom, me and my assistant or the second shooter, whoever, will be taking pictures during that first look. But that's also a special time for you guys. You're kind of taking away that more traditional element, but you're also having a moment for yourselves, which is so awesome. I did not do a first look on my wedding day, and I wish I would have because I was just the most horrible bridezilla that you have ever seen in your life.
I can't even imagine that.
Oh, I know. It was horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I tell brides, if you're going to be really stressed, go ahead and jump into that first look because that'll give you a moment to kind of calm down, see the groom, and it's such good pictures. But also they're good when they come down the aisle too. I mean, it's both ways, but the first look is really nice with the groom.
And you know, those are all, when we talk must-have photos, just from what Shelby has talked about already, all of those, there's some couples who wonder, why do I have to have my photographer there this whole entire time? But just the photos that she's talked about already, and obviously there's a lot more that we're going to be talking about, but just the photos that she's talked about already, when you, it does not matter. Whoever's helping you put the dress on you 10 times, it does not matter. That emotion is still so different on the wedding day. And you want time for that. You know, you don't want to rush those emotions. The biggest thing when you're talking about photos of the day is you want to give time. You don't want to be so stressed that you're rushing through all of it.
Right.
Because the best part of the wedding day is some of the best parts of the wedding day are those candid shots, are the ones that it's that emotion. And all photographers live for that emotion. Like all photographers, if you're a wedding photographer, that's what you get excited. Like that's when you get excited about the shot that you're getting. And the first look with the dad, and I love that she's doing a first look with the brother. That's so sweet. And then those three, oh, I don't know. I don't know how you don't cry. You know, those three talk about amazing.
Oh, I do cry. I cry all the time. I love it. You get invested. I mean, you get emotionally invested. You're hanging out with them at their engagement session. You're doing consultations and interviews with them and meeting them. And no, you get invested in your clients. And whenever, you know, they're crying or feeling something, like it's just a natural instinct to feel it with them. I love that. I never feel weird if I have a little bit of mascara running down. I love it. It's fine.
So, yes. So those are all obviously must-have photos from just to this point. And now, Shelby, go ahead with all the other must-have photos.
Yes. Okay. So the first look with the groom. One more thing. So it says on there that there's like 15 minutes for the first look. Obviously, it's probably not going to take a full 15 minutes for that, but a little bit of cushion is always good. And then I love doing the first look, getting the photos I need, and then I'm going to say, hey, take a few minutes, take 5 minutes, and just be with each other. And we leave. We leave the room. We try and do it somewhere private anyway, and then me and the assistant or second shooter, we just leave and give you a minute to just kind of decompress. So that's something nice that I've always done, and I always like that. So after the first look with the groom, we can start your wedding party photos. Wedding party photos are a blast. Everyone is excited. They're all dressed up. The only ones griping around a little bit might be some groomsmen, and I know just how to handle a groomsman. I didn't mean that in a pretty way either. That sounded kind of weird. Okay, skipping over that part. So then we've got bridal portraits, the bride with each maid, groom portraits, the groom with each groomsman, the bride and maids together, the groom and groomsmen together, the flower girl and ring bear, which those are also photos that people really like. People like those photos. They want the flower girl out there with the veil, and the ring bear always looks so freaking cute. I think ring bears might be my favorite because they're just so sweet and adorable, even whenever they're not in a good mood. Because with kids, you never know what kind of mood they're going to be in, but they're just cute by themselves. You don't even have to worry about it. If they're grumpy, the grumpy photos are adorable too.
Yeah.
And then wedding party, and then we've got family portraits. And with family portraits, you know, I think every groomsman asks me, how long are those going to take? You know, do we really have to do them? Can I just have my mom and dad and that's it? You know, like they want to get done with them as soon as possible. Nobody likes family portraits, but they always have to be taken because it's it's an important day. You need to get a picture with your brother and your mom and your aunt. And anyway, maybe not your aunt if you have an aunt you don't like. I don't know. I like all my aunts. I don't know. Do you like all of your aunts? Do you have an aunt?
I actually do not have any aunts, but yeah, but I think even if you don't love them, it ends up you have a picture with them.
Yeah, it's just normal. People want to take a picture with you. On your wedding day, you are Beyonce. They want a picture with you. You are famous on your wedding day. Okay, sorry. Continuing on. So family portraits, I get those done in like 15 minutes. That is the only time of the day where I'm like maybe a little bossy. Like, okay, follow the bride and smile and kiss on the cheek and a hug and next, Mom, smile, kiss her on the cheek, give her a hug next. We crank through the family pictures really nicely. Everyone is there. We tell everyone beforehand where they need to be, and we crank them out. So right here, we're doing immediate family and grandparents only. So, but I do have several brides that will still want the full extended family photo, and we do that really quickly too. I mean, we just snap a couple and there you go. So I get those done really quickly, but I also get all of the shots that you need. So I've got that down to a science, I feel like. So those don't take very long. Okay, and then let's see, family portrait. So then her guests are going to start arriving because it's usually about an hour before the ceremony, people start to show up. So during that time, it's not just an empty hour. So during that hour, I'm photographing the cake because they probably haven't put the cake all together yet. The reception completely decorated, and I'm getting a lot of candids at that time too because people are showing up, they're signing the guest book table, they're hugging other people they haven't seen in a while. Everyone looks good, everyone's dressed up, so all of those candids are really nice right then too. So that's not just an empty hour. And then ceremony begins. So ceremony, of course, is beautiful. And we'll talk about the second shooter thing here in a minute. But I feel like I've kind of got that down to a science too. Now, a Catholic ceremony did kind of throw me off one time. I really didn't realize how long those were. They are long.
They are long.
It'd be hard to be Catholic. They're tough. They are. So, but that's the only one. But other than that, like I know what to listen for with the preachers, and I know what to do with that. So we're gonna get the ring shot close up. We're gonna get him just crying his eyes out, looking at how beautiful you are walking down the aisle. And if I feel like the groom isn't gonna cry, I always tell him before the ceremony if he could just cry a little for the picture, that would be good. And they laugh and they say, yeah, right, I'm never going to cry. I'm a man. They cry. Because she's so pretty. And that's his whole life walking towards him. And they cry. I love it. I love it when men cry.
Yeah.
Not weird.
And I'll just touch on this because obviously we're with you, and we actually did a video a few weeks ago about the first look. And, a lot of couples feel like if they did that first look that they're not going to have that emotion when the ceremony comes. Touch on that quickly.
Yes, no, they do. I have, whenever you see each other for the first time, it's wonderful and it's beautiful. But whenever you're coming down the aisle, the music and your family is right there with you. And it's like mom and my grandpa, and they're watching your whole life come down that aisle. It's incredible. You're going to get emotional no matter what. I don't feel like it takes away from it. It almost like, I don't know. You're raw when you're at the front of the aisle. You are. You're just raw no matter what, because everyone is around you, all of your friends and family. It's atmosphere is what walking down the aisle is. You can feel the atmosphere of it. So I don't think it takes away from it at all, but but some people are real traditional, and I did that too. I was real traditional. I had the traditional bridal march on the piano, dun, 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 dun.
I haven't heard that one for a while.
Okay, right? I loved it. I loved it so much. It was like I was living out, like a movie. I don't even remember. I just remember like floating down the aisle. I was so excited. couldn't stand still whenever I got married. I couldn't stand still. I was like hopping around on the altar. It was embarrassing. It wasn't cute. It was like they thought I needed to pee, and it wasn't that. I was just so excited. Okay, so after the ceremony, so another thing I do with the ceremony is that when they come back down the aisle, I have them stop at the end and kiss again. So the first 3 weddings I did, which keep in mind, I was like 18 or 19. I was really young. So I give myself a little bit of grace there. But the first 3 weddings I did not get the first kiss. I know. It was terrible. So I've missed it since then, don't worry. But I now just like do a just in case picture every single time, I guess, to cover myself, which also my assistant or second shooter is getting it from another angle. So I'm going to potentially have, 2 pictures anyway. But when they come down the aisle, I have them kiss again. So that picture is really fun because all of their wedding guests are behind them and it's cute. And also you're a little more relaxed. So some of the groomsmen really get into it. They do like a dip or something like that. It's fun.
Yes.
So
yeah, I love that. And if when couples, when you are getting married, make sure you do not do a short kiss. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to be up there, kissing forever. But know that it's okay to kiss. You don't want to give a peck and be done. You don't want to do that.
That's another thing I tell the bride and groom before, again, another safety. I have so many backups in place for this because I'm paranoid about it. But I also tell the bride and groom before they are up there, when they're just about to go down the aisle, to kiss for 3 seconds. So 3 Mississippis. And I don't know. It always works out a lot better whenever I give them a specific number. Please kiss her for 3 seconds. No tongue, not a lot of tongue. I've had those weddings too where the groom gets a little wild and no tongue. No tongue. Kiss her for 3 seconds.
That's perfect. Good advice.
Yeah, good advice. Some of that came from The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler. The perfect wedding. Yeah.
Always good advice.
Yeah, so since we did a first look at this wedding, the ceremonies usually last about 30 minutes, typically. So right after the ceremony, I am going to do pictures with the bride and groom. So that's going to it'll be about 7 o'clock. It's summertime. The sun's starting to go down. I'm going to take 15 minutes and go ahead and take those pictures while all of her guests are going from the ceremony site to the reception. So that's usually perfect timing. It's a really nice flow. And I actually picked that up off of a wedding planner one time because I thought, I'm going to take that with me. It works perfect because the guests never have to wait for you. It takes a little while for 200 people to move over and find seats anyway. And then all of your couples photos are already done. You're ready to be introduced when they're sat down. So, and with receptions, I usually tell the bride, let's just go through what you want to do at the reception. But I'm not going to necessarily plan your reception because, of course, a DJ is going to do that. Yes. I'm like, DJ will break down every part of it, and then I just get with the DJ. So the DJ kind of does that for me. So at this point, I'm just writing down some specific things that they want to do so that I roughly know how much longer time I need to be there.
Right.
So this one, the entire wedding party is going to be introduced. So those are really fun pictures. Encourage your wedding party to come in and do something fun. Those are some of the best photos that I take. And then they are going to do a prayer and announce dinner. And then everyone will kind of go through the line, get sat down, and then we'll do toasts. Toasts, I feel like I don't know, if there's like 3 moments I live for on a wedding day, it's probably when she's putting her dress on, because she gets to see herself on her wedding day in her dress. It's a wonderful moment. And then probably like the first look, or whenever she's coming down the aisle, because I love that. I love the good shot of the guy's face. And then toasts. So toasts are awesome. I would never want to be a videographer because they work so hard all the time. It's constant. I do not have it in me to be a wedding videographer. Couldn't do it. But the only time that I wish I was a videographer is during a toast, because toasts are meant to be filmed and documented. Sometimes I even just video it on my camera. Like, I mean, I take the pictures and then I'll video pieces of it, because I feel bad that they don't have that forever. So if you don't have a videographer, have someone on your phone. Have your maid of honor, videoing the best man, and best man videoing the maid of honor. Like, even just on your phone, because this toasts are so much fun. You get parents too. I love it when parents do it. I mean, that makes it really fun too, because they're kind of nervous. I don't know. Yeah, it's good. The dad speeches are so good. I cry a lot with dad speeches.
It's crazy how much you learn about the couple just from the toast.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously you feel like you've gotten to know them, but there's stories about their childhood and about, some embarrassing moments. And, so the toast it gives me goosebumps every time. And, I'll go back to, just like Shelby said, just really quickly, Shelby, once you get to the reception, the DJ handles, or the wedding planner handles majority of everything that's happening. So the photographer just gets to go in and make sure that they're capturing everything that, it's the part of the day that you just get to go in and you get to have fun and shoot. Austin just commented, I'll tell you that in a second. But anyway, go ahead. So go ahead and finish that.
Okay, so then so they want to do a shoe game. So that'll be really fun. The shoe game is always cute. The DJ always takes care of that and does it in a fun way. And then they're going to cut the cake and do their formal dances. First dance, father-daughter dance, and the mother-groom dance. And they did not always used to do the mother-groom dance. Like, if you go back like 3 or 4 years, like, do you even remember them doing that? It was rare.
I feel like I've always had that, but it also, maybe it's because I'm a mom and I just assume that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, hey, I love the groom dances. The moms always seem to really, they just look so tight and they all cry. I love it when moms cry.
A couple times I have did a mom look.
Oh, really?
Think about that. Because moms, yes. So I do have to tell you, Austin Barton, who obviously is one of top wedding videographers. Are you proud of me that I said videographer? He gives me a hard time about that all the time. But he seconds the whole get a videographer notion. So he's backing you with that. And honestly, there are so many parts of the day, just like Shelby said, that we as anyone who's a photographer loves to capture the moment, but they're just that. They're just a moment. And, when you have a photographer, videographer combination, man, you're getting so much of both. And those toasts, as much as we want to, bring that to the table, you can't, you won't remember that like if you have a videographer. So we definitely highly suggest that. I wanted to go back to that house and I had already written it down.
Right. No, I love it when they have a videographer. And I have different brides ask me like, who's the videographer you work the best with and things like that. But I try really hard to work well with any videographer because I feel like we're more of a team. Like we're separately, but whenever it's the wedding day, I feel like we're more of a team.
Right. And you understand that you don't want to be in their shot and they don't, you know what I mean? Like, very easy as a photographer to understand that concept of, you know, both photographer and videographer's goal is to get you the best photography and videography. And so they don't, you know, they're going to be mindful of each other because both are incredibly important.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always love it. Whenever I first started, I did a few weddings with Evan Pollock with Pollock Pictures. And I feel like he kind of showed me the best way to work with the videographer. So he was constantly like, hey, do you want to get this shot? And then I'll get this shot. Yes, I do. Hey, while I get this shot, why don't you go and get this from that angle? Like, it was always like teamwork like that. So that's the best thing about working. I enjoy working with a videographer because they bring more ideas and creativity to it too. So it's fun for me. But yeah, so dance.
Shots are.
No, yeah.
Go ahead.
Dances.
Go ahead.
And then just mingling, candid photos, garter and bouquet toss, and then the sparkler exit. So that wraps up the full timeline. And then I'm pretty much, you know, just hanging out, and I'm going to eat cake before I leave. And I'm going to see what leftover food is there. At some weddings, you'll see me walking around taking pictures with like a roll in my mouth.
True. Well, you know, you've probably had a long day, and just like the bride and groom, who hasn't probably ate very much up until the reception, photographer hasn't either. So, so it's always nice. And I'll just tell you, always nice whenever you you include all of the people who are helping document and or work when you're, you know, doing food as well. And sometimes, you know, we forget to mention that. So, so we do have some questions. So one of the questions, of course, I already told you what Austin said, and then Mockingbird Designs asked, what's your favorite part of the wedding day?
Oh, I mean, I do really like the toasts. I do. I like the toasts. I like it when people cry. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I do. I like it when people cry. I like to be able to get the bride and groom shots. And that gives me a chance to kind of also touch base with the bride and groom. Like, hey, how are things going so far? Is there anything else I can do to help you? Do you feel like I've been where you want me to be? And what are some other things you want me to do before I go and things like that? So it gives me a chance to kind of touch base with them and make sure that everything is running smoothly with them. So I like that 15 minutes that I get with just the bride and groom, because those are the people I know and I've connected with. So it's kind of like, you know, whenever you're at a party with your friends, you know, and that's kind of what a wedding is, a party. So it's kind of like, oh, it's my friends again. Hey, how's it going? Is this going how you want it to? Can I help you with anything? Also smile right there, because the hair has this good light on your hair.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. So there was another question. She also asked, Mockingbird Designs asked, what's the ideal wedding party size?
Oh, I like even numbers. That's just me. You can photograph any wedding size. I mean, I have the largest wedding party I ever photographed. It was 11 bridesmaids and 11 groomsmen. So it was huge. So it was a little chaotic. You know, I really had to kind of go with the mentality, if you can't beat them, join them with the groomsmen, because they had just been like drinking all day, and I'm just like, I'm not even gonna fight it. I'm just gonna join in, you know. I'm gonna play along. We're just gonna have a good time. So even with those big wedding parties,
not the drinking part. You're saying you're
right. Just yes. I'm probably not gonna go, you know, take shots with the groomsmen, because who does that? Nobody ever does that. Anyway, no, I would say like 6. I like 6. Like that would probably be my favorite number because I've got 3 on each side of the bride, and it's still like a larger wedding party, but it's a more manageable size. So we can go more places and we can get a larger variety of photos.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. I have found a lot of brides have 5, and the only reason why I like that is because the maid of honor and the bride can kind of face each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, 5, 6. I completely agree with you. And then let's see, we had one more question. So Whitney asked, how do you want the timeline? And then, which, do you want to answer? Do you want to answer that? And then there's another question, but go ahead and touch on that one.
Okay, what was the timeline question?
How detailed do you want the timeline?
Oh, well, if there's a wedding planner, the timeline is super detailed.
Yes.
And I don't really have to do anything. Like anytime I work with Mary Douglas with bringing it together events, I don't have to do anything. I love working with Mary or any wedding planner because they just break it down like minute by minute almost. So I like something like that. And then my timelines that I do are mostly just focused around the photography. But if I have a wedding planner timeline, I know when the flowers are going to arrive. I know when the cake is going to be there. I know, everything, every little thing. I like that. I do. I'm detailed.
And I think that's the great part about having a wedding planner is they detail it out. And when they do that, it helps all of the professionals at the wedding. Like we all, there's no question, what time everything's going to be there. So you have it to photograph. It's like, yeah, so they do, I feel like wedding planners obviously have it. They do an amazing job. If and I highly suggest, I'm going to plug a wedding planners, but I highly suggest always checking to see, because some people think that wedding planners are out of their budget, but honestly, there's wedding planners and day of coordination as well. There's full wedding planners where they do everything, which is amazing, and I promise you will take off a lot of stress. But also some do day of coordination as well. So know that sometimes that can be priceless. I mean, the whole thing can be priceless, but know that they know what they're doing. And it makes everybody else's, like I said, everybody else's job go smoothly on the day because everybody knows there's no questions.
Right. And the day of coordinators too, they're kind of like a neutral party. Yes. If you have, Aunt Rita running around yelling at everybody, it can be a little, you never know. Like maybe someone doesn't like Aunt Rita. I don't know. But with the coordinator, like,
by the end of the day.
Right. Yeah. But with your day of coordinator or wedding planner, it's a neutral party. It's just kind of like, oh, the wedding party planner said, So I always think of J-Lo with wedding planners. She keeps everything running really smoothly and she rocks the dresses. I'm just saying.
I've never that way, but so hopefully Whitney, that answered that question. And then she said, do you mark down specific family members that the bride and groom want photos with?
So sometimes I do that. If they are going to have family flying in, like from state or the country, I don't want to miss anybody. So some brides will write down or type up a list and send it to me of priority people, I guess. Like, my grandpa is flying in from, well, maybe not grandpa, because I'm going to get a picture of grandpa, but Uncle Earl. Uncle Earl is flying in from Colorado. He never comes here, but he loves me the most, and I want to make sure I get a picture with him by the end of the day. Yes, that is a person I want written down on my schedule for the day.
Yes. Perfect. And, when it comes to family photos, the thing about family photos is everybody's dressed up, and I think that's why, moms, and especially moms and dads, are, want those family photos, because not everybody gets dressed up all the time. So yeah. Austin said wedding planners are the teachers of the wedding industry, underpaid and immensely valuable. That is true.
Yeah, that is true. Because it's like it's a game changer. A wedding planner is a game changer because they're going to take away all of the stress from your wedding day, which is you can't really price that. You can't really price a stress-free wedding day, so.
And, the thing about it is, when it comes to wedding planning, the big stuff, obviously are, and here we're talking about wedding planners, but the big stuff are big decisions, obviously, your venue and your photographer and, your videographer, and all those are big things. But I'll tell you that a wedding planner is thinking of all the little tiny details. And a lot of times it's all those little details that if they don't have a wedding planner, they're thinking of like the 2 weeks before the wedding, where if you have a wedding planner, they've already thought about that a long time ago. So anyway, okay. So yeah, Austin, we love that. So thank you. And okay.
So many good comments tonight.
So many good comments. We just love him anyway. So okay. We and he just posted a video of a couple he shot, I don't know, not too long ago. And oh my gosh, talk about tearing up. His video, I just cry every time I see his videos. Like I'm not even at a wedding, and granted, I love weddings, and right now I think we all just want to be at that wedding, and maybe that's why it hit. So, because I feel like for all of us, we just want to be back. We just want to be, want to be back. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and let's get to the last one. So, second shooter, and I know this is something you're incredibly passionate about. Let me get our screen up here. Whoops, not just me. Took you off the screen for a second. So, second shooter, when do you need one?
I get this asked. I get every single wedding show. I mean, multiple brides. This is probably the most asked question is, do you need the second shooter? So I have my packages set up to where you can add on a second shooter to any package, but I still want to try and make them affordable. So that's why they're an add-on until that top package. But very important, there's never a time that you're going to regret having a second shooter. You have to just kind of take the plunge and do it, but you're not going to regret it later that you had one. So I do. I love it. I shot for a really long time just by myself. Mm-hmm. So I have so many different, like when I was telling you about the first kiss, I have so many different like safety protocols in place for me being the only shooter to be able to get everything that I need. That whenever I first started working with a second shooter, I was like, what do I even have them do? Because I do everything. What am I going to have that person do? Whoa, they do a lot. They can do 100 different things that I can't do. And that was mind blowing. I was like, oh, they can do something I can't do. Weird, when I'm used to doing it all by myself. So it is nice having the second shooter. You're able to get different angles. Usually the number one question is about the ceremony and the first look. Mm-hmm. That's obviously what you go to when you think about your second shooter. But I have a second shooter that is off doing all of your groomsmen photos and groom detail photos and groom getting ready shots. Like, you're able to capture so much more of the day. Whereas if I'm prioritizing my time, I'm going to be with the bride most of the day. Like, I'm going to get some of those things, but not the full depth of it because I want to be with the bride all day. So it's nice. You're able to get a lot more candid photos, a lot more angles and things like that.
Perfect. And Shelby did some great examples of having a second shooter.
Yes. So, and this is at a venue in Springfield, and they had a really long aisle. And that's another thing. Like, if you tell me the venue, and I've been there, and I've been to a lot, and if I've been to that venue, I'll probably suggest, hey, even if we have to sub something out of this package and sub it out for a second shooter, you might want to think about that, because at this venue, the aisle is so long. It winds around and it comes all the way down, and that's a lot of images. But where I'm only shooting with one lens, I can have the second shooter using another one. And that first shot is when they're first coming around the bends and they're coming down the aisle. And she was able to get a lot of pretty photos of her and her mom. You know, they're so far away from the ceremony site, so it's still kind of like, you know, they're chit-chatting to each other a little bit as they walk down the aisle, and they're smiling at each other, and you're able to get a lot of good images there. And but then me, like, you can't forget about me, because I'm at the front of the aisle where the groom is. And right. So I'm getting, you know, the wiping away the tears and the, you know, hands up, and they're so excited. And so you have to, sometimes it's really nice to be both places. And then that next photo, of course, is the back of the dress. And some brides, they spend so much money on that wedding dress. And some of them really love, you know, the back of the dress with the train and the veil. And having that image is really special too.
Yeah.
So this wedding particularly, it was good to have that second shooter there.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes I know for some brides, they look at the back of the dress even more than they look at the front of the dress. Like, I love when you do a first look and the bride's like, look at the back, look at the back. So
they always do like the little twirl, you know, it's so fun.
Yes. All right. So then we've got another example here.
Yes. So this was at Herman Hills, and it was a really long one too. She had to kind of come out of the building and then walk all the way down like the pavement, and then all the way. I mean, she had a long walk, but I was really grateful for a second shooter at that wedding too, because the background was better here. Like whenever it was that way, because whenever she started to walk down the aisle towards me, that was when the catering van showed up. And so the catering van is in the background of all of those other pictures once she gets to the aisle. So I was really grateful to have the second shooter there. And then, of course, and the other picture of the groom, he's so excited. Look at how, you know, wowed he is by his bride. And so those are really important photos. And that's what the brides always tell me, like, don't even get a picture of me if you can't get both. You know, she's like, just photograph him. That's all I want to see is his face when he sees me.
Right, right. And, you know, that when something like that happens, which, you know, just like you said, sometimes at weddings things just happen. It's not because anybody means to do anything, but that's when this shot, the one that the second shooter got, ends up priceless.
Right.
Yeah.
You just never know. I mean, you never know.
Never know. Okay, so then I think we have one more.
Yep. So that one's the back of the dress shot with that really pretty sky behind them. But then I'm able to still get, you know, whenever he had his reaction, she was still so far away. So then I was able to get a lot of good photos closer up whenever they got up close to the ceremony. So it's good. It just gives you a little bit of peace too, because you know that you're going to get every different angle that you can get. And then again, she loved the back of her dress. So she specifically wanted that shot of her dad walking her down the aisle from the back. And then you can see the groom there too. So it's some good shots there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when we go back to the must-have shots, you know, really and truly for a photographer and videographer, their whole goal is to tell the story of the day.
Yeah.
And that starts from the beginning, you know, to the end. And so, you know, those there, you can't say, oh, well, you know, there's 3 must-have shots. It's honestly the whole story are really and truly the must-have shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So normally we hold all questions to the end, but I just
kind of them out
because we were already talking about it. So I just went ahead and threw them in there as they were coming in. But so let me check with Shelby just in case if we have any more questions inside of our 417 engaged couples group. And then, but we do have a couple comments that I wanted to tell you that I didn't get to at the beginning. So let me get that to her. So Kristen Williams said that's a great way to describe what you want from off-camera flash.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Good. And then such great advice for couples. Ask to see the entire gallery from your photographer. So, which you said that towards the beginning. So that was good as well. And so goodness, Shelby, we've already been on here an hour.
Listen,
Goodness.
I didn't think that I was going to get, like, I didn't think it would take a very long time. I was so impressed by Brock and all of them. Like, no one's going to, I don't have that much to talk about. I'm not that cool.
Yeah. I think everybody has said that, to be honest with you. They're like, oh, it's not going to take me very long. But, you know, the reason why we do this way, if you haven't joined us before, is because what we'll do with these videos, we will cut them into 3 different sections, obviously for the 3 different topics that we're talking about, so that someone can come on and they don't have to watch the whole entire thing. If they have questions about, you know, the must-have photos, or we will break them down, and we do upload them onto IGTV, and then we are also going to upload them onto Facebook as well. So, but thank you. And there's a lot of people who have stayed on the whole time, so which is awesome. And thanks everyone for joining us. Shelby, is there anything else you want to add?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think you did amazing.
I love you, Grandma. That would be good. Mama, I love you, Mama.
Do you want to stand up and like do a acceptance speech or anything?
Oh, that's a great idea. I don't think my computer is really. Let me just How's that? That's
perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, you did great. I was really nervous about this, and I told her she would do well. So I think everybody has jumped on and did incredible. And we just love to do this for all of our couples, because anything that we can help with, of course, like I said, we have our 417 Engaged Couples group, so you can jump in there and ask any questions that you have. We have not only other couples in there, but we have wedding professionals in there as well that are part of Top Weddings. So we have that, and then you can message us. You can honestly be in our wedding. We have over 50 wedding professionals on Top Weddings website, and Shelby, of course, is one of those. So we are definitely glad, and thank you, Shelby, for being here. I feel like I got to get this cute photo of her up here. So thanks,
Jillian hair and makeup combo.
You look just as great tonight.
Oh, thank you. I watched a tutorial, so I was really trying to look good here for you.
We've plugged others, so we'll go ahead and plug Jillian as well. I can tell you, we had a party a few months ago, and Shelby and I were both at Jillian's studio and just telling her how great she makes everyone look. She brings the best version of yourself, right?
Oh, yeah. No, she's like the best push-up bra you own. Jillian is a makeup hair push-up bra.
Yes. Yeah. Again, hadn't thought of that, but that is another helpful tip for you.
Yes.
Yes. And Shelby is full of those. We could probably stay on the rest of the night. I keep on telling her she could do a live comedy. So maybe at some point, we'll have her do that. So, but thank you for being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was great.
It was good. You did so good. And all of the tips, very incredibly helpful. And so I hope they help you. And we are here every Wednesday on Wedding Wednesday at 5:00. So if you have questions that you want answered, feel free to ask those questions as well. And, we'll try to cover them during lives as well. So, but thank you guys. Thanks, Shelby. All right.
Anytime.
All right. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.